earn my pay reading that gospel reading this morning. So just out of curiosity, before Mass, I said to myself, how long would it take to read that gospel reading? So I read it twice just to get an average. That gospel reading on average takes 6 minutes and 19 seconds. Now, what is amazing is this. Every priest in the entire world has the option either to read the gospel reading I just read or to read a very, very short form of the gospel, which clearly I did not read. Now, I read this particular gospel on purpose because this gospel comes out of the first chapter of John, verses 1 to 42. And in that long gospel, there is one major theme that is developed. And this word is used repeatedly in all 42 of those verses. Does anyone know the theme of today's gospel reading? This word comes up over and over and over again. Now, I read the long version, so I thought to myself, if anyone doesn't pay attention for a couple verses, they might come back into the gospel reading itself and grab the remaining verses that I'm reading. So I just read it. This gospel reading purports one dominant theme. Does anyone know the theme of the gospel reading? This word is used multiple times. Does anyone know? Well, sin is used a lot, but this word is actually used more than the word sin. Blind, there it is. Let's put the word up on the wall. Blindness, not being able to see. You know, that is such an incredible word. It's a tragedy that happens to so many people. In order to understand what Jesus means by blindness, we have to go back to the Three Stooges. You remember the Three Stooges, and remember that one episode, Curly's talking to Moe and Larry? And Curly says to Moe and Larry, he said, I can't see, I can't see, I can't see. And they say, why? And he said, because I have my eyes closed. Now, that is not what Jesus Christ is talking about when you can't see because your eyes are closed. Jesus Christ is not talking about those who are born blind or become blind after birth. Jesus Christ is talking about people who have their eyes open, but they can't see what's right in front of them. Those folks who have 20/20 vision, or those folks who wear corrective lenses as I do. When you have your eyes open and you don't see what's in front of you, that's being blind. You know, it reminds me of the young person, the teenager. If we have any teenagers right now at Mass, and I notice that we have several. You know, every so often a teenager, a young person will get mad at their parents because they are blessed with a parent that has rules and regulations. And sometimes they'll say to Mom and Dad, you know, all the parents of my friends, they don't have any rules, any regulations. They let my friends do whatever they want to do. And so they get mad at their parents because they have rules. They care. And then there comes a moment in your life when you look back in your life and you say to yourself, how blessed I was because I had parents who cared. But I would get mad at them because they cared and because they had rules and regulations, because I was what? I was blind. I had my eyes open, but I could not see what was right in front of me. It's the married person who leaves their spouse, not because they found something better, but because they no longer see the quality of the spouse they have right in front of them. They don't realize what they have, so they're looking elsewhere for something else. They become blinded to what is in front of them. What a tragedy it is to become blinded. We make so many mistakes in life when we can't see what's right in front of us. We have our eyes open, yet we don't see. We don't see the quality of our spouse. And sometimes we make a huge mistake. And then in time, we look back and we say to our spouse, if our spouse is still willing to have the door open of their heart and allow us back in, we say, I was blinded. I didn't realize what I had. It is a person who becomes upset with their home because my house is falling apart. My life is ho-hum. My job is the same old, same old. I need change in my life. Obviously, sometimes the truth of the matter is you don't need change in your life. All we have to do is say, God, my eyes are open, but I don't see what I have right in front of me. Help me to see what I have, despite the fact my eyes are open. Sometimes I become blinded. I suffer from blindness. I can't see what's going on in my life. How tragic that is, to want change, to want something better, to struggle, always struggling for something larger, something better, something more beautiful, when in fact everything you have is right there in front of you. But you can't see it. You're suffering from blindness. I read this incredible story some years ago. It was near the close of the Vietnam War. This family was waiting for their son to come home from the war. They lived about an hour from San Francisco. The son calls up his mom and dad. He said, "Mom and Dad, I'm right now in San Francisco. I'm in about an hour from the house, and I can't wait to get there." They cannot wait to see him. It had been some years before they saw him, since they saw him last. As he's talking on the phone with his parents, he said, "Mom and Dad, I'm bringing someone home with me to live." "Who is it, son?" Well, the son said, "Mom and Dad, the person I'm bringing home to live, this person has only one arm and no legs. Mom and Dad, this person was caught when a grenade went off inside of a foxhole. And it just took one arm from this person and both of their legs." The father said to the young son, he said, "Son, your mom and I can't possibly take care of someone that has only one arm and no legs." "Son, no, you can't bring that person home with you. We can't take care of someone like that." Well, the son hung up the phone. Mom and Dad were excited because they knew the son was only about an hour away from their home. An hour went by and the son doesn't arrive, and 2 hours went by, 3 hours went by, 4 hours went by, and the son doesn't arrive home. Where is he? The phone rings in the house of the parents, and the father answers the phone. And it's a police officer from the San Francisco Police Department. And he said to this father, he said, "This evening we had a jumper off the Golden Gate Bridge." He said, "And when we went through the possessions of this jumper, we noticed on his person, inside of his pants pocket, was a number with a name, and so we called the number, and it turns out to be you, sir. We believe that you just might know who this person is. Would you be kind enough to come down to the San Francisco morgue and try to identify this person? This person has your number and your name." So the mother and father, with great trembling, because their son was so late in coming home, and they knew their son would be home in an hour, as he said, they traveled down to the morgue. When they get into the morgue, the coroner opens up the door and slides out the bed. And they're standing there waiting to identify whoever that might be, hoping that in many ways they don't know who that person is. But why would they have their name and their number? When they roll out the table, they pull off the sheet, and the father looked and he was stunned. He said to the coroner, "That is my son." "Yes." And then the father screamed out because when he saw his son had what? One arm. He was missing an arm and missing 2 legs. And the father cried out and he said, "God, why was I so blinded by what my son was telling me? My son was talking about himself." Why didn't he identify himself? Because the son didn't want the pity of his parents. So he was saying, "Mom and Dad, I'm bringing someone home to live with us." That's why he took that route, that path. When they rolled the son back in to the cubicle and closed the door, when the parents were holding on to their hands and left that morgue, the father and the mother, they were devastated. Our son was reaching out. He was trying to say that, "Mom and Dad, I have only one arm. Can I bring this person home?" And Dad said no, because we can't take care of a person only with one arm and no legs. What happened? They suffered from blindness. They weren't able to see. Dad's eyes were open. His ears were open. He heard what his son said, but he couldn't understand what he was saying. His mind, his eyes, they were blinded by what was going on. And this is a tragic thing. That's why I said to myself, I can read a really short gospel reading. It was so short, it took like about 30 seconds. But I said to myself, the long gospel reading, it brings up the idea repeatedly in every verse of the 42 verses of the first chapter of John. It mentions the word blind, to be blind, suffer from blindness. Oh, that happens to so many of us. When we have our eyes open and we fail to see what was right in front of us. It's one thing to say, I can't see because my eyes are closed. We can get away with that. But to have your eyes open and not be able to see what is right in front of you, when that happens, we make one mistake after another. We walk away from a spouse that has everything. We get mad at parents that are just caring and trying to do their best for us. We get upset with our jobs and our homes and our life when in fact we can't see what we have. Our prayer for every one of us this morning should be this. And the prayer you should offer for yourself and family members that you know and friends that you know as well. Heavenly Father, keep me from being blind. I don't want to suffer from blindness. How tragic it is when you have your eyes open and you just can't see what's right there in front of you. Father, God, when I have my eyes open, allow me to see what I have. Because when my eyes are open, I can't see what I have. I just make one mistake after another.